Forget balance. Let's find your workable range. Ever had that urge to smack someone when they're sitting talking about work-life balance and you're feeling completely overwhelmed and probably as far away from balance as you possibly can be? Please say this isn't just me. Thing is, for a long time now, we've talked about work-life balance in HR circles, in the things we aspire to do in our workplaces, yet we know there is no such thing. Sometimes work is busier and takes priority. Sometimes life is busier and takes priority. Occasionally, you even get to prioritise yourself. My brain often works in strange ways that decades into life I still fail to understand. But when anyone says work-life balance to me, I get this mental image of a tightrope walker trying to catch enough work balls and life balls to stay balanced on the tightrope. Of course, this is ridiculous. But it's also reflective of life sometimes, isn't it? So hold that image for a moment. Balance is such a subjective thing. What works for me may not work for you. What I consider to be balanced might fill you with dread. And that's okay, because we're all human, with a whole life to live and many competing priorities to juggle. But I think it's a dangerous discussion because it looks at the wrong thing. Work is important for most of us, not just to put food on the table, but because it defines who we are, what we contribute. It gives us connection and purpose. And this, in part, is why we're on the tightrope in the first place. There's stacks of research about this. Sadly, much of it focuses on performance, on workplace engagement, staff sickness and retention. And all of these things improve when people feel more connected. Balance is not about what time you spend where. It's about doing the things that keep you fulfilled, connected and contributing. Whether you're getting enough rest, nourishment and exercise, whether you have enough agency and trust to feel safe. We know that when we get enough of the things that keep us connected to who we are as a human, enough to keep us fueled and maintained, we function better in and out of work. But we're not simply talking about time spent here. We're talking about well-being, mental, physical and emotional. Together, these determine your health, your ability to engage with others, and your capacity for participating in life. Think about it. As you progress along the tightrope of life, juggling your balls, you're going to have times where your rhythm and flow is great, and you can maybe add in another ball or two. And you're going to have times where you wobble inelegantly, you maybe drop a ball, or even stop for a breather and to regain your balance. But you'll keep going because that's what you do. I believe it's time to trade the tightrope for firmer ground where you get to catch and bank your balls instead of juggling all the time. And for this, we need to think about well-being first. Let's consider your bank balance for a moment. Most of us have got a fair idea of what we've got, even if we don't know to the last penny. When things are tight, we probably pay a bit more attention to what we're spending. But let's just think about what keeps this working. We make regular deposits in the form of a paycheck each month. We make regular withdrawals like food and bills and so on. We broadly know what our range of operation is, how much money we need to get through the month, right? Sometimes we're flush, other times it can be challenging. We might need to move money around or hold off on paying something. And if we want something big like a holiday, we usually have to save up for it, or we stick it on credit and pay later. Bluntly though, if you take out more than you put in, you finish up overdrawn or bankrupt even. Your well-being is no different. You have a range in which you can operate. You have to put stuff in the well-being bank account if you want to keep drawing from it. So regular small deposits will enable you to keep your well-being in flow. And if you know you have something big coming, plan for it. Get yourself in the best position to manage it. And if you get blindsided and finish up having to stick something on credit, make sure you pay it back and don't just keep getting deeper in debt. Get overdrawn and you'll find your mood, your enjoyment, your performance will all suffer. Hit bankruptcy and you'll find yourself mentally and/or physically unwell. Most of us wouldn't leave our financial bank accounts unattended for months on end, and yet we seem to think it's okay to do that with our well-being. You can't. At the very least, you need to know what a deposit looks like, those things and people that fill your well-being pot. And you need to know what a withdrawal looks like, what drains you, what costs you your energy and well-being. Most of us can't live without making withdrawals, so we need to make sure that we know what to put back in the pot. So enough with the bank balance metaphor. For this last exercise, you simply need to draw a line down the middle of your page or use the worksheet provided. And at the top of one column, write energizers, and at the top of the other, write depleters. Then spend some time filling in what or who constitutes a deposit or a withdrawal. And then you can start to be really intentional about staying within a manageable range.